All right, welcome back. This is Stevie GB here, suffocating in suburbia. And today I have two guests, which is different. Normally it's been one. And we're going to discuss some things about the future of entertainment, not only on Long Island, but in the country, in the world, because things are changing rapidly. And I haven't done it before, but I'm going to do it today. I will be mentioning the C word, COVID, and possibly the other C word, conservative. We'll see if it goes in that direction. But if not, we will not say cunt. Okay. So let me bring you to my guest today. One guy, they're both good friends of mine, and they both represent different facets of what's going on or what has been going on in the entertainment business. One guy is Mike Keegan, who's I call him a touring comedian. He's done a lot of road work, more than me. He's played the Borgata and everywhere. The guy is a workhorse. I appreciate everything he does, and I respect him greatly. And he's a working comic. You gotta hand it to him. The other guy is Don Sill, who's not a working comic, thank God. But anyway, just kidding. Love you, Don. But Don does something also very different and unique that I think is great. He does an internet TV show, not a podcast. It's much more advanced than that, much better. And I like these two guys because they can give me a perspective as to where we're going, because I think things are changing. Um, don't you think so? I got to introduce them. Mike Keegan on the bottom and Don Sill on the left. How are you guys?
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
thanks, Stevie.
Um,
Thanks for having us.
oh, of
Yes,
course.
awesome.
Don't you think? I mean, I was thinking about this, and I'm old enough to remember back in the day. I hate saying that, when people were freaking out that you can actually tape songs off the radio on a cassette recorder, and they thought it would destroy the radio. I mean, actually, back where you go further back before me, they thought TV was going to destroy radio, right?
Yeah,
And then we had MTV, video killed the radio star. It was like, oh, the radio's going to be dead because now it's MTV. And then CDs were going to destroy vinyl. And then Napster was destroying everything. And
yeah.
nothing really got destroyed. As a matter of fact, vinyl's coming back. Everything just changed, right? And I think we're kind of at the cusp of that, because what's happening with this fucking COVID bullshit pandemic, let's face it, guys, we're not getting out of this pandemic. They're just going to create a new one,
It
right?
That's
just
what they
keeps going and going.
Now they got variants and mutants. And the thing is, we're going to be in this. This is it.
Yeah.
So I think the entertainment business is going to suffer, but then it's going to somehow evolve. Do you agree?
Like like
Disagree?
like you were saying with everything else, Steve. I don't think it's gonna kill it. It's just gonna make it change.
Right.
Like you said, music videos made everything change. CDs made everything change. Everything's just gonna improve. I think it's gonna improve, and like you said, with the vinyl coming back, there's gonna be the nostalgia. People are gonna miss going into the comedy clubs and
Right.
sitting, shoulder to shoulder, and it's definitely gonna transform things a little bit.
Right.
Not
And
gonna,
I
Yeah.
and I think what Don is doing is kind of a wave of the future, because internet TV, and I mean, I know YouTube's been around forever, but I think it's kind of a more of a growing medium than just a different medium. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think when you look at kind of evolution of what we've been through, kind of what you guys have talked about, from radio to TV to MTV to, here we are now in this kind of Zoom era. I think we've kind of, it was going in that direction, but we kind of got forced into going into it faster than we wanted to, because of the COVID virus. And however you feel about it, if it was, used as a political tool to, keep us all inside, or however you want to view it, here we are, right? So I think entertainment is still a human need. People want it. There's an audience. There's a demand for it, and there's people like us who enjoy performing, and we're going to find a way to perform, and the audience will find a way to seek us out. And we've seen that even with like the backyard shows and the rooftop shows and the secret
Mhm.
shows, is that the audiences are still coming out, and the comedians, of course, are still there to deliver. And I also think that this is a time where we need comedy more than ever. People need to laugh now more than ever, and it's getting harder and harder to laugh, because you get people are getting shut down, and there's a whole other aspect we can talk about with cancel culture and what you're
Mm.
allowed to say and not say. But that aside, that's why we also need comedy now more than ever, because comedians always broke down those barriers and called people out. But I do, to get to your original point, I do think there's an evolution of comedy, in a sense. We're seeing a lot of more Zoom shows. We're seeing, people kind of doing like what I'm doing and podcasting. And but the one thing that always is the dinosaur, the roach that won't die, is radio. Radio will always live on, man. It's been there since like what, the 30s and 40s, and it's never going to end.
Yeah.
Well, I love the old radio shows. I don't know if you ever listened to these old radio shows. Are really
Jack
cool.
Benny.
Yeah, all of them. I love all that stuff. And but I don't know if younger people are so hungry for nostalgia as we are or were.
Well, it is. They're gonna get older and they're gonna want to I just started collecting vinyl again because I liked it when I was younger because I had my dad's vinyls, and that was just when CDs were just starting to make, in the 80s. So I had my dad's vinyls. That's how I used to listen to music. But now I'm older and I'm going back to the store and getting vinyl, and I like sitting next to the turntable.
Yeah. Right. And it's crazy too, because vinyl continued to increase in value. Like, where CDs, you could sell you a CD for 50 cents now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but people will still buy your record. Mm-hmm. They'll buy the same record as, like, it's a Guns N' Roses, Appetite record. They'll buy that album. If you have the original vinyl, you could probably get like $50 for it, right? Or maybe more. Who knows? For the CD, 50 cents. Yeah. There's something special about the vinyl.
Or you can download it and stream it for $5.
Right. Yeah.
They want to hold that album. They want to have the booklet. They want to read and have artwork. And
well, that's what it was back in my time. That the album was an experience. You sat down, you read it. It was a concept album. If it was a double album, you had some place to roll your pot. So there was so many advantages
exactly
to having an album collection. It was like there was so much more to it than just listening to songs. Now with streaming, everything is songs. People make playlists, and I'm like, you can't take like the Who Quadrophenia out of context. It doesn't work. You got to sit down, or Thick as a Brick. It's like you got to listen to the whole thing. Otherwise you're not getting it. And
in sequence, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I have it on shuffle. I have a lot of things on shuffle. And Thick as a Brick, there's actually songs on there, but you don't know it. Like, and all of a sudden, like in the middle of the song, it just stops, and I'm like, what happened? And it's just like the next riff is the next song. So you don't know, because all of a sudden you've got Led Zeppelin or something.
So the band got killed. You can't have a concept album like that. It's crazy.
I don't even know when was the last concept album. I don't even know if that even exists anymore.
You can't, because they just sell singles now, like the pop culture. There's nobody has patience or time. These kids today to, I sound like old man. These kids today, but they don't have. They're not going to take the time to break down and analyze a record like we used to. I remember even, like when I was younger, like Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, me and my friends breaking it down and kind of going through the story of who this guy was and all that. And then we got into Quadrophenia and all of those, Tommy, and started getting into, all that kind of stuff later on. But yeah, it's fun to dissect those things, but now it's, it's just watered down.
And everything, even like reading the liner notes and who produced this album. And, like Todd Rundgren, I talked about him before, well, in a different vein, but I forgot. Yeah. What happened, Mike? Yeah, I'll go back a little bit. Was we were talking about Don Sill and Milton Berle having a huge dick.
I heard about Don Sill. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't know if it's true, if it was a true story about Milton Berle. It was just kind of a gag thing. No pun intended. And, but Todd Rundgren actually did have a big one. I don't know if you know that. He probably still does, I would imagine. It's just lower.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, exactly. It's probably longer too.
And the reason why I know that, we really went off track here.
Reason Steve knows that he used to hang out with Todd back.
He used to hang out literally hang out with Todd Rundgren.
Hang together.
He just hung a little lower than me. No, I went out with a girl and she was like a big Todd Rundgren fan, and we saw him at the Bottom Line in the city, and we were like second row, and he had like these chiffon pants on, and there it was.
Yeah, right.
It's like, Jesus Christ, how does he breathe?
He's just waving to you.
I don't know how he breathes in that thing. But anyway, let's go back on track, please. Let's not get off track. We've talked enough about that. It's my fault. But Mike, now what's going on? I mean, you're a touring guy. Do you miss the live audiences? Obviously, I miss it.
I miss the live audiences. I miss the hotel rooms. I miss, I miss all that stuff. gigs trickle in now because Pennsylvania and Jersey are allowed to have shows, but with a limited capacity, about 25%. So I've been in Jersey. I was in Jersey last weekend. I was in Pennsylvania the weekend before that. And the show I did in Pennsylvania was actually under this big dome that holds like 400 people. So they let them have like 100 people in there. So we had about 80 people there. So it was nice. But even the Jersey show was a small show, a small room. And they only were allowed to have 22 people tops in there. So there were 20 people in the audience. But I'll tell you, the audiences now are the best because those are the ones that they want to get out of their houses because they're not scared to stay, to go out. They don't want to stay home. They go out. They're comedy fans, and they've been the best audiences I've had. Even audiences of 5-10 people have been amazing.
That's good. That's hopeful. Yeah. That's hopeful. I have not done a live show since March. I have not done anything. I've done Zoom shows, and they're really weird because you're looking at yourself. And it's like, I don't like this audience. This is a bad audience. It's me. It's just a weird thing. And then I tell the people, like I'm doing a library show again, and it's like all 90-year-olds. Half of them don't understand Zoom.
You just exactly.
They're and then they pop on and you see this.
Nice Grandma. Yeah.
Or you see this. You get it. And then I tell them, don't mute, because I want to hear laughter. But you don't hear laughter. You hear dogs. You hear, dishwashers, people walking in the room, the TV blasting. Yeah. So it's not good.
That's what it was. I did a Zoom show last week, and there were about 80 people there, but about 75 of them had their mute on and their video off. So it's just silence. It's a blank screen, and I'm just like, this is brutal. This sucks.
How do you guys get through it when you're doing these shows, right? And because again, I don't do stand up. I've done it before in my lifetime. In fact, the worst bomb I ever had, Stevie was right in the audience. He doesn't remember it. Well, he was sitting there, his arms crossed, just looking at me. Like, it was traumatic. No, it's fine. It was one of the moments of my life where I realized I should not be doing stand up.
Oh, it's my fault. Okay.
I'll tell you.
I like to inspire people, not disinspire.
No, you inspired me. I then went on to do this stuff. Yeah. But when you're doing comedy and for a Zoom crowd and they got it on mute, how's your timing? Does it affect your timing or your confidence, or how does that work for you guys?
That's the thing that sucks the most. I mean, it doesn't really affect my confidence because I know I'm like, oh, they're on mute. That's why they're probably howling at home. But it's just the silence that kills your timing and your whole, everything. It's just.
Yeah, because when you're on stage, your timing is based on the reaction. So, and when you're doing it a long time, like me and Mike, you know, like how long it's going to be before you get to the next joke because you can gauge the laughter meter. But when there's no laughter, I try to do it anyway, but it's awkward. It's just not fun.
Do you get the flop sweat or anything like? Do you start to feel like you're bombing, or do you just keep trekking through knowing that this is the good stuff?
Yeah,
I get a little PTSD from bombs of the past, and I'm like,
oh. I think it's worse bombing in front of a live audience, of course, than in front of a Zoom audience. So yeah, but I'm just so. The thing is, lately I feel like my passion is waning, and this is really bothering me. I was talking to my daughter about this because I used to be so passionate about comedy or writing or something, or now it's like I start something and I just don't want to do it anymore. It's just, and I think it's because 2020, we accepted that 2020 sucked, right? It was like 2020 sucked, it's out the window, and everything's going to be back in 2021. And now here we are in February, and I don't have like any kind of a feeling like it's going to get any better.
Yeah, everyone figured as soon as 21 hit, the light switch was going to go on and things were going to come back. And
yeah, and it's still dark. And
still no light at the end of the tunnel because they're still moving the field goal posts on us.
They're moving the field goal. This guy's signing away.
The variant. They're hitting a variant and a mutant and more masks and less vaccines, and it's just like, and Trump is gone. And I mean, at least I had some fun watching his stand-up routines when he did those rallies. Right. They were freaking hilarious. Did you see the one where he was talking about West Point?
Yes, yeah.
Going down the ramp?
Oh, yeah,
guys,
yeah.
I'm telling you, he was as funny as any stand-up comic I've ever seen. He was so funny.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there laughing. I'm like, this guy is doing stand up. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
what do you
had the
think Trump
timing.
could
He
be
had
doing?
everything down. Yeah.
His timing was perfect.
No,
It
exactly.
was. The guy was so funny. And now we got this sleepy guy. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Falling half asleep in a chair, just signing
Oh,
things with a pen.
just
He's just
signing
signing
shit.
away. Just sign. He doesn't even know what he's signing. He's just
Oh,
signing him.
just
Hey, what else? He thinks he's in a coloring book or something. Just passing him off.
and now we got to be afraid of what we say and people getting canceled. And it's just, it's getting really scary out there.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
adding to the depression of 2020. So it's like, when are we getting out of this? What's going to happen?
Like I was looking through my calendar and I'm like, this used to be every weekend was comedy, and I'm like, doctor's appointment. I have something in my calendar to remind my mother that she has a hair appointment. That's how desperate I am to fill shit
just
up.
To fill the boxes in your calendar.
It's like Friday. Used to be Borgata. Now it's like you cross off Borgata. Mother's salon.
Yeah.
The cut and dry salon.
Because that's why I feel the same way with the passion with you, how it's waning. Because I used to have I have this show to look forward to, and I have this show. Let me write some new stuff. Now I'm like, you know what? My day job is going pretty good. Fuck, it's just
exactly. You start to put the energy in other places, and it's hard to stay focused on one thing. And I don't know if there is a light. We talked about that, how things seem to be staying the same. Like, has any of you guys heard? Have either of you guys heard about clubs being opened back up on Long Island anytime soon, or anything being eased up?
Nothing. And it's depressing because the governors in particular, I know what they did. They did everything. They installed those HEPA filters, the UV lights. That was in the beginning when they said the governor said if you do this stuff, you could stay open at a limited capacity. They put all that money doing the right thing. He said no. Now he did outdoor shows and he says no. They keep moving it back and changing the rules. So there's no chatter at all about them opening back up.
Yeah,
it's crazy because they're really hurting the small business owners. They're hurting big time. They're hurting comedy in general, comedians, waiters, wait staff, all those people that are depend. Like it just continues on like a domino effect of how it affects everybody. And this guy, just signing away.
I know.
Yeah, I don't see any end in sight. I really don't. And it's just going to get worse. And what really pisses me off is over the summer, we had like 0 deaths, 12 cases, and they couldn't open anything up. Now we're getting, 30 deaths and 800 cases, and they're saying, open everything up. I'm like,
exactly.
What are they doing? It doesn't make any sense. Like, shut down at 10 o'clock, kick people out at halftime for the Super Bowl. It's like, and people aren't getting it in restaurants or clubs or theaters. They're getting it at home when they say
that's what it was. It was like 3% were getting it in restaurants, clubs, and bars, and those are the ones that they're attacking. And when you can't go to the restaurants and bars, you're going home where everybody is lax with the masks.
Yeah. I said way back in the beginning, I said, this doesn't make sense. They're shutting everything down, but they're leaving open supermarkets and Costco and Home Depot. And that's where everybody was. Everybody was like, where are we going to go? Well, we can't go out, so let's go to Home Depot. You walked into Lowe's, it was jammed. And I'm like, these people are spreading the virus. What's going on? If you open everything up, you won't spread it because people are more dispersed. And plus their offices were closed and the schools were closed. People aren't good. What are they going to do? What do you want them to do? They can't stay home. They can't go out. What do you want us to do?
The last couple of months, I've been in bars until 10 p.m. when the COVID seeps out of the sewers, whatever he thinks. I've been in the bars, and the bars, and they have the partitions up. Everyone's socially distanced. There's sanitizer all over the place. They're doing the right thing. And then you go home, and you have your neighbors over, no masks, and you don't give a shit. Where it's spreading.
Of course. I got Chinese food yesterday at a takeout place for the first time because I was afraid to eat Chinese food for a year. But I went, it was like a freaking fortress. They had the plexiglass. They've
really taken the precautions.
It was insane. They had a sign in the front door that said, no more than 3 people in store, 3 in car. We call. It was like written in Chinese, how they like leave out little pronouns.
Written in Chinese American, yeah.
That was the irony, though, is that they're the strictest with it, and it came, and,
like,
it came
what's
from
going on?
One, they have like a pulley system at one of the ones that I do, and they like lower the food down, and they don't.
That's great. But it
I
must have
felt
been
so safe. I felt so safe in there.
and if it was your first Chinese food in a year, it must have tasted delicious. It must have
It
been
was
amazing.
unbelievable. And I'm not a big Chinese food fan. My wife is, but I'm telling you, it was just so good to eat that greasy, ice cold lo mein. It was better than nothing. What is it with lo mein? I get home, everything's hot. The lo mein is ice cold all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was house special lo mein because I like to get the standard 3 shrimp. That's all they put in there. But I don't know. It's just, I feel like we've got to move into something different. And that's where I kind of started. And maybe it's the internet, the streaming. But, are people going to stay home forever and watch Zoom and watch internet? It's like,
Well, that's the thing. It feels like everybody has a podcast or a show
I
now
know.
and is doing something. So, like, we put out a video last week, a music video on our show. Is like, Ken Pichelle wrote a song called "Everybody's Got a Podcast Now," and
yeah,
and the thing of it is who's watching them? Everyone has podcasts. Where's the audience?
I
But
know.
I talked to Jackie Cation, the comedian, Jackie Cation. She's been around, funny lady. She said that she believes there's 10,000 people for every performer, and we just got to find that 10,000, and then and then if you charge at $1 a month, you'll get $10,000 a month coming in. So that's her philosophy. So
Good luck with that.
yeah.
No, I don't know. I think once things open up, people are not gonna want to ever watch a Zoom podcast ever again. Because maybe that's the way it'll go.
I think it'll stick around because especially for a while, because even when things open up, there are going to be a great deal of people that are going to still want to stay home and still kind of gun shy about going out. But I think people have found their niches with the Zoom shows. Some of them, how well they're produced, that they've gained a following that's probably going to stick around for them. So
what's good about them too is that for me, I could interview comedians in the West Coast or England or wherever, Canada, all over the world if I wanted to. Whereas if I'm just based out of the studio, it's a lot harder. Like when we had the game show, getting judges was tough to do because so that's a benefit of it for me with the Zoom. And then in my mind, I'm always thinking that all these podcasts were just born out of COVID, but this podcast stuff and even with the Zoom or Skype was going on years before this happened.
Yeah.
So so it just got more popularized due to this,
Especially, you made a good point, like with the guests. Like I listen to Howard Stern like 30 seconds a week when he's not bashing Trump and it's a liberal star fucking.
Yeah.
I still, like, when I'm on the way to work, I'll listen to him a little bit. And he even said, they're from home and he doesn't have to really worry about flying, get where the guest is going to be, flying them in. He could have somebody from California Zoom in, and it's easier to get guests. So it does give you that advantage.
That's true. But I don't know. I got to work on something because I'm getting really complacent, and that's the enemy, because then I'm going to start doing something like drugs. I don't know. I've never done them before, but maybe it's a good time to start.
And we all are, Steve. The guys at work know I do comedy, and they say, "Oh, you must have so much stuff written because you're home, especially home and on quarantine." Like, I didn't write shit. I'm like, because I don't know when my next gig is. Like, usually, I'll get excited, and that's when I write. I get complacent, and but and like you said also, Steve, though, I think when things open up, people are going to be chomping at the bit to go out and see a live show, and we all want to get on stage desperately. So it'll come back. And
I'll tell you what, though, I'm not looking forward to the COVID jokes. That's going to be like the new Starbucks. It's going to be like so hacky. It's like, please don't tell him no more COVID jokes, please. I can't even watch network television anymore. Every single show is either about COVID or systemic racism. It's like everything. I watched that like an old episode of the Brady Bunch so I can get away from not watching any. At least they're not talking about COVID. Marsha Brady doesn't have a mask on. Thank God.
But they'll find a way to make the Brady Bunch racist.
Yeah. Little Oliver was a white supremacist or something. They'll
Yeah,
find out.
Oliver, he was a bad dude, man.
They'll
He
do
was the
some
jinx.
background search and find out he's like a KKK Nazi Proud Boy.
Yeah, then they have to cancel the Brady Bunch next.
Have to cancel the Brady Bunch, or they'll only have like some squares. Like they'll find out like Greg, and they'll have a big X, a big line through him.
Well, I think they got one thing going. I think pretty sure Alice was a lesbian. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Although my favorite line was when Sam came over and said, "I'm here to deliver the meat." So that was.
Sam was ahead of his time, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's brutal. I think it will come back, and I think it will come back strong.
Yeah,
You're right. I haven't written anything. I got a Zoom show tomorrow at a library. I don't even want to do it. I'm just like, I just don't want to. And that really bothers me because, like you said, Mike, you would look forward. It's like today's show day. Like everybody had that. We all had that feeling like it's a Saturday and I'm going to be here.
Exactly. The night before, I'm like, let me get some new stuff so I'm not opening with my same old stuff. And let me do my research about the town that I'm going to be in so I can make a joke about the town.
Right.
And it keep the juice is flowing, and there's no juice, guys.
There's no juice. True.
Very little juice.
No juice. And I don't know how, you and I still kind of work part-time. We're all working a little bit.
Yeah.
How are comedians surviving that don't have jobs? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. The ones I know that are full-time comics, especially the ones that aren't like nationals that are traveling all over the place, like the middle of the road guys. I'm like, how are you guys eating? And I know you guys don't have to. Some of the guys I know did have to go. They're doing like construction and stuff now, and
they heard some guys,
20 years, but there's some guys. I'm like, things are lean over there.
I heard some comics.
I also feel bad for the new comics that I remember when we started out, it was like stage time. You go to every open mic, you want to get better. And now they're stagnant. They're not, they start over basically. And
it's a tough time to begin comedy for sure. When your whole background or your reel is going to be on Zoom.
Yeah. I gotta say Steve Perillo is doing a great job of keeping open mics around. He's got
good.
Most every night he's running an open mic, and they've been pretty good. I've stopped by some of them, and you see like some of the bigger names that go to the open mics because there's nothing else to do. Like even I was doing a show the other night with a comic who's he tours all over the place, and he's like I drove 45 minutes tonight to make $100, and that's how much it sucks,
It leveled the playing field for sure, man, and it humbled a lot of guys. Especially in the beginning when the first couple of times they went to and did backyard shows or rooftop shows, they felt like it was beneath them, but then they realized that they needed it, and they needed the audience, they needed everything about it, not just the money.
Yeah.
And I think it humbled a lot of these guys and made them realize, that look, at the end of the day, we're all comedians,
I did one outdoor drive-in show. And I had the best opening line. I looked at the crowd in their cars and I said, "So where you from? Detroit?" It's pretty good. And the guy honked. So that was like his laugh, That was it.
I did one of those outdoor drive-in shows. I was with Mark Norman, he's been on late night shows and he's a national touring comic. And we're out in the pouring rain in the parking lot in Astoria, and he gets on stage. He's like, "Wow, I really got to start saying no to shit."
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, guys like Mark Norman, man, those are rising stars, and like Sam Morrill and those dudes, and they've been doing the rounds and kind of keeping the tools sharp. Because, like you said, if you're not out there doing it and writing new material, or even just really honing your current material, start to get the rust builds up, and then when you get out there. So that's what's good about you, Mike, being out there doing it. And
it's cool, and it's good for like mid-level producers also. Like my buddy, he's a producer in Pennsylvania, and he has like his own comedy lounge that he owns, but he gets like middle of the road headliners, and it's always a great show. But now he's getting like all the Comedy Cellar guys, all the Netflix special guys. And he's like, I would never get these guys. And when shit opens up, they're not going to fucking remember my name. But he booked Dice. He's got Dice coming there. He had Hell. Louis C.K. stopped there, and he's a guy that books, mid-level kind of headliners. And
Hey,
stuff.
that's striking the iron while it's hot. See, these are the benefits of this is the guys who are taking advantage of the times, and you have to find, be ahead of the curve on this stuff too, and then take advantage while you can, because like you said, once the world, if it ever gets back to normal, with these guys aren't going to be so ripe for the pickings.
Yeah.
And when will it get back to normal? What's your estimation? You think something in the summer? June,
I think in the
July?
summer we're gonna really start feeling like we're getting back to normal.
Yeah.
And then after the summers, I really think everything's gonna open up. And I said that fucking a year ago. Also,
I know.
I think by September, football season next year.
But I think like June, July, like
Yeah.
Steve was
Yeah.
saying,
I hope
especially
so.
the vaccinations now,
Yeah.
and they're gonna start really
Well,
opening
remember
up.
this. Remember 6 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
What was that in
exactly.
March? We only need 6 weeks to flatten the curve, and then
Still wearing my mask weeks. Yeah.
it never happened. And
That's a
it
phrase
was
I haven't
all
heard in a
about-
while. Yeah,
It was
flatten
all
the
about
curve.
the election. We know it was
Yeah,
all about the
It
election.
was definitely about the election, because once the curve did flatten, it's like, well, didn't flatten enough.
Didn't flatten enough because Trump is still popular.
Yeah.
We got to follow the science today and not tomorrow.
Because like you mentioned before, Steve, like things did flatten and they didn't open everything up. But now things we're starting to uptick again. They're like, we got to open everything up.
Yeah.
That was a couple days after the election that they started saying that shit.
I
I mean,
know.
Exactly.
that's fucking stupid.
I know. They really politicized it. And it's so, and Fauci, I can't even look at that guy because he's like, phony.
I know.
He's like, we're going to have to wear 4 masks, maybe 5. We'll see. Maybe 12. Yep.
We need you to get put a suit on, do a Fauci impression.
Everybody get a welding helmet. You ever see the welding helmet? You need the welding helmet and the 12 masks and then the welding helmet. And then I'll put a box over your head. And then just kill yourself.
Just kill yourself.
But now he debunked the 2 masks. He now said, "Oh, there's not enough data to support the second mask." It's like, oh, come on, man, make up your fucking mind, dude.
It's always changing. The thing with him is like, I'm not taking away that he's a brilliant guy and he's a doctor or scientist.
He's not brilliant.
But also, yeah, exactly. But he loves the celebrity. That's the problem with it. He loves celebrity of it. He loved being at that Washington Nationals game.
I'm gonna throw the pitch.
First pitch that he threw behind them. That's the problem with these people. They're in the spotlight now, and they don't want that to go away. Like Cuomo loves being on fucking TV every day.
I said he won a Grammy. He won an Emmy for killing Grammy.
Well, you talked about TV earlier, and all people are watching is the news. So these people are becoming superstars. Back in the day, I didn't know who the congressmen or the senators were. Now they're all like, we might as well have trading cards of these people now.
I know. Exactly. Well, my mother-in-law never knew anything about politics, but all of a sudden she's like, now she's in politics every day.
Yeah, that's the thing.
She's asking me questions because I always followed politics. I always found it interesting,
Right.
And she's like, what's the difference between the House of Representatives and the Senate? What's the difference? I said, they all suck. That's all you need to know. There's no difference. She would ask me these crazy questions.
Yeah, but TV's so bad. Like you said, all we're watching now, and whether you're watching whichever one you're watching, right? We're all taking that in all day long. It's all that's on. It's just 24 hours a day ingesting this stuff. And it's
all agenda-driven TV. Like you, long gone are the days where I could watch the news and not know what your political opinion is. I don't want to know. I want this guy to tell me the news. I don't want to know, but I can tell right away.
They're not even hiding it anymore. Yeah, I used to work with a guy who came from Israel. He came from Israel, really interesting guy years ago. And he said, I said, what is? Because I was interested. I said, what is it about America that's so different? He said, well, your news is like entertainment. He says, they're not newscasters, they're celebrities. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, in Israel, the news comes on and people don't like to watch the news. They're afraid to watch the news. But you watch the news to find out where to hide. You're like, where do we have to hide today? Because the news would give you actual information. Where here, the news is like, it's like an entertainment show. They're like advertising, watch us. We're more fun than the other channel. It's like, so he was right. And it's even worse now.
I don't want to watch Rachel Maddow trying to win an Oscar with her fucking crocodile tears and.
I don't watch her at all. I don't watch any of those. I used to watch Fox more often, but they seem to have turned a little bit. Now I watch Newsmax. I like Greg Kelly because he's still
He's
in the
funny,
Trump camp, and he's got a sense
he's
of humor.
yeah.
Greg Kelly was so fun. There was one. I was just watching it today, actually, a clip. He's listening to Biden saying something. He goes, you might not know what I'm talking about. And then Greg Kelly clipped the Greg Kelly. He's like, you're right, we fucking don't. And you don't know what I'm talking about either.
He didn't say fucking.
He didn't say fucking. Got all excited.
Greg Kelly, his dad was a
Ray
police
Kelly.
yeah. So
I used to
knows
watch
Giuliani.
him. He used to be on Fox
guys.
5. He used to be on Fox 5 with Rosanna Scotto, and he was kind of a jerky guy. I used to watch him like, this guy's like a jackass. But then he kind of grew on me, and then they fired him. They fired him, I think, because he liked Trump. And now he found his way, and he's doing really well over there. But that's the only show that's worth. The rest of them, I don't know. I watch like that Stinchfield guy, and he's like a stiff.
Yeah.
None of them are good. They're aching for some kind of better content over there.
That's why YouTube shows, political YouTube stuff is really taking off too, and now they're trying to shut those down. The censor police are, because we're all terrorists, domestic terrorists.
Yeah, we're domestic terrorists now.
So they're
the
trying to
latest
shut
rumor
down.
is they're gonna stop us from being able to use a bank because part of the Patriot Act. I don't know if you noticed, but part of the Patriot Act is if you're a terrorist or on their list. Yeah. You can't have a bank account. You can't travel. So now if they start labeling Trump supporters as domestic terrorists and use the Patriot Act, they could do the same thing to us.
It's all part of the plan.
It's very scary. People don't realize how
their plan, they did their plan perfectly.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, I was doing, I was showing somebody an example. I was like, here's the left and here's the right. It's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? You ain't gonna do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, look what they did to that Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, granted, she's a bit of a nutbag, but you know what? What is AOC? What is Ilhan Omar?
AOC is the equivalent to her. They're the balance of nutty.
Now AOC says she was in the building and she was 4 blocks away. And
4 blocks away.
I wrote on Facebook, in all fairness to AOC, I'm also afraid of things from 4 blocks away. I got neighbors 4 blocks away I'm afraid of. So it's okay. I understand.
He's making up, they were knocking on my door. Where is she? Where is she? No, you were fucking 4 blocks away. You're half a mile away.
And then did you see the New York Times put out an article? It took them 2 or 3 days, but they put out an article that basically validated her claim and saying that it was the Capitol Police that were in that building.
Yeah.
Because they were checking the surrounding building. Come on.
They're trying to cover for her. That's what they do. They all help each other out and get them, and then twist it.
And like you said, they succeeded brilliantly with their plan. And there was like Kaiser Soze for 3.5 years. We're like, oh, they're so dumb. They keep making all the wrong moves, blah, blah, blah. And then they had a plan all along. And now because of one dumb thing that 200 people did at the Capitol building, we're all fucking terrorists now.
And they probably helped make that happen too, because where was all the police force? Where was everybody guarding this building? It was almost like they just opened the doors and said, "Hey, dude."
Oh, did you see some of the film? Yeah, there was the cops were doing that. They were like, "Yeah, come on this way."
Yeah, it's like they set you up. It's like if we took the cheese,
it was a
man.
Setup.
Yeah.
If I walk into my local doctor's office over here in Holbrook, I go to my doctor's office. I can't just walk in and see the doctor. The receptionist is like a freaking Nazi.
Right, yeah.
He's like, "Where you going? You don't have an appointment." Like, why don't they hire them and put them at the Capitol building? No one's getting past them.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Capitol Police, they just walk right in. Come on.
If you look at some of the footage, they're literally walking right in between the velvet ropes.
Yeah, they're taking pictures, selfies.
But yeah, we felt for that one. And the other thing too that they utilized perfectly, whether or not it was created by them, is this pandemic. They played it so perfectly, and here we are getting forced socialism upon us. And like, please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah,
we're getting anything that we question about these ridiculous rules is, oh, you don't care about other people.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's the whole. It's all bullshit. They're getting you with that emotional thing. Well, you're not doing this for you. Don't be selfish. Don't.
If I complain about not being able to work, if I can't open my business, but you don't care about 400,000 dead Americans.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. They twist it, and they use the words too. Xenophobic, homophobic. Racist. So they throw these key words out. Yeah, claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic now. Yeah.
motherfucker.
The only people making out in these pandemic are the people who have that thing where they can't leave the house. What is that? Phobia?
Yeah, agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia.
They're loving it. Yeah,
They're loving this. This is like, this is great.
it's like finally.
Only phobic you're allowed to be anymore. It's agoraphobic.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I don't like going out. I've always been an indoorsman, so this is fine for me too. I don't mind it. And they said, if it wasn't those dating ads with an outdoor type. No, I'm an indoor type.
Yeah.
I like being inside. Inside's good. I don't want to go out there. It's too
I
scary.
just don't like that. I feel like they are controlling us even more now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the money and like, so first they strip your jobs. You know, a lot of people, it was only, first responders or whatever it was in the beginning were allowed to work, remember? And then they keep you in there. So there was a lot of unemployment going on. And so at the same time, simultaneously, they're destroying the economy and everything that Trump created. So they're shitting
Well,
on
that
his
was the whole
legacy.
goal, because let's face it, before COVID, Trump's economy, I mean,
It was booming.
he would have won by he probably would have gotten every state. I mean, there's no way he would have ever been beaten. And I still don't think he lost, but but he would have gotten 150 million votes because he was that strong. And they kept trying to take him down, right? The Russia thing didn't work. The impeachment didn't work. Nothing worked. The economy got stronger. Jobs got better. More black people loved him. More Latinos loved him. And they were like, what are we going to do? We got to do something.
Happen. Yeah.
They had to create something. And that's what they did.
They didn't necessarily create the virus, but they fucking rode it like a roller coaster.
Perfectly, because in socialism, they were able to push in socialism and destroy Trump all at the same time. It was like magic.
Yeah. And now they're trying to erase him. They're impeaching him again, and throwing him out of office when he's already out of office. It's like, that's like your job calling you from 10 years ago. We know you quit, but you're fired now. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Can I collect unemployment? Yeah.
And he's even still doing hilarious shit. Like he wrote the SAG.
The SAG letter. I loved it.
He's like, he wanted to revoke my membership. Who cares? And like he wrote, "Who cares?" I'm like, this is great.
That's what I love about the guy. I don't understand why people didn't love him. I really don't get it, because he was none of what they said he was.
Well, I think with us, we're New York people.
Maybe,
so I think we kind of get it. We understand him more.
I said that before.
It's like
by him.
He's definitely a New York. He's got that New York personality.
Yeah, so we're used to that. And we know when he's just kidding.
But people in the Midwest and the South loved him, and you would think they would hate him, and they loved him too. It's just,
well, even the fact that he's a millionaire, and who loves him the most are the middle class and lower middle, and even poor people. Like these are the people that he's speaking to. That says a lot about him too, because he's a millionaire. He's like up there.
Well, you know what it was? He had me at when I watched the first debate, because I liked Trump before. I liked The Apprentice. And where he got me was when Megyn Kelly said, "You've called women fat and stupid," and he went, "Only Rosie O'Donnell." And I turned to my wife and I said, "He's gonna win. He's gonna win." And she goes, "How could you say that?" I said, "Because he just annihilated everybody."
Because trying to play a game against him, and he's too smart. He's gonna play it right back at you. Like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, I called Rosie O'Donnell fat.
Yeah,
stupid. I'm gonna keep telling the truth, and I'm not gonna cover shit up. Right. And not make me look like a politician, and people are gonna like me.
And it worked. It worked because he went up there and he said, "I don't give a shit what I say. I'm going to tell you what I think, and this is what it is." And he had a lot of problems with this over talking. He would over talk, and I would always hear, I'd be like, "Why is he saying that? Oh no!" And you would know that's going to be the news tomorrow. You would feel all those little sound bites.
There's been a lot of things he's done through his time, whether it was while he was on the campaign run in 2016 to get in, and then throughout, where I was like, holy shit. And just be like, how is he going to get out of this one? And he's almost daily
that would happen.
And it was just like, wow, man, this guy.
It was so fun to watch. And I always felt bad for the press secretaries, like Sean Spicer and Sarah. They had to explain. He didn't really mean that.
Yeah.
But then Kelly McEnany came in and just beat the shit out of everybody. I was so proud of her.
Great.
Yeah, she was. And now we got this one, the circle
this
back.
One, it fucking looks like Rocky Dennis.
Oh. She looks like the one from the somehow in band camp. The one from the band camp.
Oh yeah, she does.
I'm waiting for her to say I stuck a flute in my pussy. You know, it's like finally she said something interesting. Yeah.
And she's terrible. Like they all had to kind of twist and lie a little bit. And there's marketing, and this one is just so bad at it. She might as well just say, "I'm not answering these questions."
Totally unprepared. Did you see the other day where she's going flipping through like 17 pages of notes? She goes, I'll have to get with my team.
Yeah.
And they know what they're going to ask. You know, it's no surprise that they know the questions. I'm not surprised at that.
Softballs at her. And you know what it is? Biden's getting progressively worse every day, though. She's not going to be able to last. Like, he's incoherent.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
still
in the first week, I wrote on Facebook, I said, whoever took Trump's Twitter away, could you please take away Biden's pen? Doing a hell of a lot more damage than Trump's Twitter account.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the media to get fed up and start really firing real questions. I think it's slowly happening, but it's not like nothing compared to the Trump administration. I don't think we'll ever see that.
They're losing ratings. They're losing, I don't know if they're losing sponsors. They're not, but they're losing ratings. Yeah, and eventually, money talks. Eventually, someone's going to sit down at that big boardroom and go, okay, we got our quarterly report, and instead of an 8 rating, we're a 2 rating. We got to do something about it. So that's when it's going to change. Right. I don't know what it's going to change into, but something's got to happen.
Well, we'll have President Harris soon enough.
Yeah.
I give it another 4 months before was it the 24th Amendment or whatever it was?
25th.
Biden's really fades fast. I mean, he's not going to last very long.
He's like an empty sock puppet. He's just like, hi, everybody.
He's like Walter, the puppet Jeff Dunham.
He looks just like him, too. He looks like Walter.
He does.
And they don't let him on Air Force One.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's really, I don't know. It's not even, Trump was fun to see, but this guy's not fun. This guy's just scary.
It is, and I think even the Democrats are starting to get a little nervous. I think even Susan Sarandon tweeted something about that she's having buyer's remorse. She feels like she was bait and switched because, so I was like, wow, she's a super lib. And here she is complaining about him.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? I don't know.
They're all going to get. I really hope. Not that I hope because I know people need it, but that $1,400, I really feel like it's going to go by the wayside, and he has so much other stuff that he's putting ahead of it now. And those people that voted him in because they needed that $1,400 aren't going to see it, and they're going to be pissed.
Very pissed. And what I think is going to happen. I thought of this, and I wrote it the other day. He's reversed everything pretty much that Trump did, right? But I think there was 1 or 2 things he brought back. Right? Yeah. So I think what he's going to do is he's going to reverse all this stuff. And then in a little while, because the news cycle is 2-3 days, he can wait a couple of weeks and then bring something back that Trump did. And then it's his idea.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? And the media will be like, oh, Biden did this at the border to slow down the immigration. And people who are smart like us are going to go, wait a minute. All he's doing is Trump's policy. He's going to bring back Trump policies, but he's going to make them his policies, and they'll make him look like a hero.
They're already starting to do it with the cages on the border. Now they're like temporary housing suites or whatever the fuck they call
it.
Temporary housing suites, no longer cages. They're temporary housing suites. Don't you love the language? I heard housing suites.
And then he'll be like, and now I'm also going to start the pipeline. I had this idea for a pipeline.
Yeah.
Wow, Biden, that's amazing, Biden.
Yeah. Well, Kerry said, don't worry about it, pipeline guys. Just get a job building solar panels.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking of putting a happy little barrier between us and Mexico.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Beautiful. And this whole climate change thing is such bullshit. It really is. I mean, come on. I love the George Carlin bit about how, the earth is going to be fine. The earth's been around for billions of years, and your plastic bag is not going to ruin the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
And he ends it with the earth will be fine. It's the people that are fucked. And it's like a perfect analogy.
Because you see how much money is being made because of the climate change shit. And then you see John Kerry fucking flying all over the world in his private jet. They asked him, it was in like Denmark or something, like, was that the most economical way to get here? He goes, well, for a person like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
you fucking piece of shit.
That's
Yeah.
not too elitist.
Yeah,
He went
exactly.
in his private jet
Talk
to
about
pick up an
privilege.
award. He went in his private jet to pick up an award for climate change in Iceland.
Yeah, exactly.
The hypocrisy, man, it runs deep, and it's right in our face, and
Yeah.
they keep covering up for it, man.
People are going to eventually, I hope, well, I'm not saying all, but I'm going to say at least 60% of people are going to wake up and go, wait a minute. Because I don't think Democrats are that stupid. I got liberal friends, and they're not stupid people. And they may not admit it, but I think they're probably sitting in there like Susan Sarandon and saying, oh shit, what do we do? And they're going to realize maybe Trump wasn't the bad guy we thought he was.
Yeah, exactly.
And
You can't have the
That's what kind of happened with George Bush. How much villain was he when he was president? And then he gives Michelle Obama a piece of candy, and now he's fucking everyone's.
right now they all love him. Yeah.
that's
But you
right.
can't have a perfect guy. You can't look to be a good leader. You can't be perfect in every facet. You can't be this, lovable uncle guy who likes to smell girls' hair and then still get shit done.
Right.
Sometimes the guy who gets shit done has to be an asshole because he's getting shit done.
Back when Mayor Koch was around in New York, my mother said something extremely intelligent, and I'll never forget it. She said, because I said, how come everybody hates Mayor Koch? She says, because he's doing something right.
Right,
And I was
exactly.
like, you're right. Because if politicians are hated, it's usually for a good reason.
Yeah,
Who are they hated by? Look at who they're hated by.
yeah,
And you realize, oh, the unions hate them. Oh, well, that makes sense because they're, the teachers union. Look what's going on there. It's just
Trump was never part of their club, and they let him know it, man, on all sides.
he wasn't in the club. That's
Yep.
exactly what it is. It's the club.
Yep.
Hey, we've been on a long time. This was fun.
Yeah, this is good stuff, man. It's good to talk to you guys.
Good to talk.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
You. And I'll post this. So you want to, John? Do you want to take this and play around with it and do things and that you do? Because I haven't done anything with you as far as interjecting, and you do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, send me this.
Yes. What do I do? Just email it to you?
Yeah, you could email it to me or put it on a Google Drive, a G Drive. You should have if you have Google. Do you have a Google account, like a Gmail account?
Yeah.
You should have
just like send it to email it to you. The Zoom.
Yeah.
All right.
That should work. Yeah, and I could see what I could do.
Yeah,
but I think this is great. I like what you're doing in the format, and I like
Thanks.
how So it's.
I'm making it pretty simple. How did you do that cartoon at the beginning of the last one with the Biden? Did you do that? You had like a
no, those are actual cartoons from Freedom Tunes. I love those guys. Yeah, so I asked them for permission to play their stuff on the show, and they was like, sure, just keep our Freedom Tunes thing on the bottom, and spread the word. So I play those. If you go on Freedom Tunes on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of their stuff, and they flip them pretty fast. So if something happens in the news, they're kind of right on it. Like they might have a circle back thing right now, or they might have something about AOC by now. Yeah, like they're pretty fast.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm still trying to get some other guests. Curtis Sliwa, I did a show with him, like 10 years ago. And he was a super nice guy, and I had his email. So I emailed him, and he said, sure. And I emailed him back. I said, what a day with it? And he just hasn't responded. So I don't know if maybe he thought twice about it. Sometimes when they're running for office, they're afraid to appear on anything because
now he's gonna
gets extracted. They don't know what my agenda is. Everybody's got an agenda. They got to be a little afraid. So, because he's running for mayor, but he would be a great guy. And Norm Macdonald, I tried twice, and he's not responded yet. But
Norm would be great. I did want to talk to you too about. I know you have contact info with Norm and stuff. Because we're working on. I know he was very fond of Rodney Dangerfield. And we're trying.
I'll send you his email.
Cool. Yeah, because we're trying to get that Rodney statue over in Babylon Village.
Oh yeah.
So I want to get some juice behind it. Like if we get a guy like Norm Macdonald or a big name to help us push that forward or to show up at the
even local guys, Don, like Peter Bales and Richie Byrne. They used to do Dangerfields all the time, and they knew Rodney. I know.
Oh, Richie, yeah. All right. Cool.
Well.
Rodney's in my top 10 favorite comedians of all time.
I saw that. I watched that episode.
Oh, you did watch it?
Yeah, that was good.
That was tough to come up with that list. And
I was surprised you had Pryor. I was actually happily surprised. I think Pryor's in my top 3, but it's nice to see when somebody puts him so low on the list. It's like, oh, shit. He was like, what, 8 for you? 9 or 8?
9.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about I love Pryor, and it's tough not to put him near the top. A lot of people make him the best, but it's a personal list, and it's personal. You really
Yeah.
can't. It's like music. When people say, "What's your favorite?" I'm like, "Well, they're my favorites. They're not going to be everybody's."
Yeah, I always have like my personal list, and then I have my like my like the list of that's not personal. That's just based off of what they did and who they
Yeah.
are and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because my
Well,
personal,
I go by like the ones I grew up with, the ones that influenced me, the ones that I could still listen to today.
right?
Like I
Yeah,
could still listen to Class Clown by Carlin, and it's still as fresh and as brilliant
still
as it ever
that's probably
was.
his greatest record. I love that album.
I mean, I memorized it word for word, and I listened to it recently, and I still remember every word of this.
Yeah.
When I watch George Carlin, it's so weird, man. It sounds hokey, and but sometimes when I watch early George Carlin, I actually get emotional about it. Like I'm like, God damn, he's so good. Like I just
Yeah.
love. He was so good, so like genius.
But those
And he
bits that
was,
you apply it to what's going on now, you're like, oh, it still
oh,
makes
Yeah, exactly.
you
It
know,
holds the
here's
stands
an
up.
interesting.
right.
If Carlin was around today,
Yeah.
which side of the political spectrum do you think he would be on?
He was always liberal. That's how I see it.
He was always liberal, but the way that liberals are today now, where it's just so establishment, and he would hate the establishment Republicans.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'd still be a liberal, but I think he would still lean more on our side.
I think he would because I mean, back then he hated whole political correctness. He was doing a huge thing about that. Like when did toilet paper become toilet tissue? You know, it's like
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
he
Now
hated
taken
all that
away
political stuff.
with the how to the women and men now they mom and dad they want to take all that away. I wonder what Carlin would have thought about that stuff.
He'd lose his mind.
And would he have liked Trump though? Would he have
I
liked
think
Trump?
he would have been a closet Trump. So there's some closet Trump people out there. You know that.
All this point, it's a one big club and you ain't in it. And fucking who's in it? Biden and Clinton and Harris, and who's not in it? Fucking Trump.
He's not. He never was. He never was. And they were threatened by him as soon as he came down that escalator.
They
like,
were trying to get him out the day he got in there, man.
Yeah.
And it to me, he and I always feel bad for his wife, the first lady, because she had like they got the shittiest coverage and disrespect.
coverage.
Yeah, it was just so. She was never hailed or praised or got any of that. For her personally, I always feel sorry for her for that. I mean, I know she's a millionaire. She's gorgeous. She's not feeling sorry for me, but I feel sorry for her because she didn't get what she deserved, I think.
Yeah, she could have been like a Jackie O kind of.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she had that whole vibe.
Yeah.
It's all identity politics now. It's all identity
And
politics.
porn a little bit. Who cares?
And it's
I think
funny
that's a
because
good
the left never thought anything to make fun of her accent, to make fun that she was an immigrant and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, that was all on the table. You're allowed to pound the shit out of that, but God forbid you.
Languages and was gorgeous and elegant and
Yeah,
was a
exactly.
great mother. Fucking.
I don't know. All right, listen, guys. I think we've overstayed our welcome.
That was a lot of fun, though. Thanks so much.
It
Yeah,
was
this is
fun.
awesome.
And hopefully we can do this a few times. I was going to do that obviously bias thing, but what I didn't like about it was too narrow. It was like, what am I going to do after the third episode? It's like, how much can we really, beat this dead horse, So I went with Suffocating in Suburbia. I like the title, and I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. Like next week, I got an opera singer on. That'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That's
cool.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to get a little.
guests that you've had on, and it's been.
Yeah, I had Epi, I had Bobby Collins, I had an old friend from music. So I'm trying to do music, comedy, trying to get a couple of politicians, but they're hard. Steve Levy is also kind of a friend of mine. Remember him? He was the executive. He was Steve Ballone's job.
Yeah.
But again, I think politicians are afraid.
Yeah, it's tough to get them on it. But you should also go to your punk rock roots and see, like, I'm sure now's the time you can get, I don't know if you're a Devo fan or what, but you could probably get like CJ Ramon or some of those guys.
How do you contact them? That's the thing. Where you go on like their YouTube or maybe their Facebook.
Sometimes I go through their agents, or their PR people. If it's other times it's like with Norm Macdonald, like just like through you, or so if I know somebody knows somebody, I'll kind of try to network that way.
Right.
But I could try to help you.
Any music people I would love to get. I contacted the management of Johnny Rotten.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Sex Pistols fan, and I had
interviewed him once.
that he does podcasts, and he's a Trump supporter, so he'd be fun.
Guy,
Yeah, so he'd be fun to talk to.
I interviewed him a long time ago, maybe.
Did you?
Yeah, they had about 20 years ago. Came to Jones Beach. They had like a reunion tour.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
I didn't go. I don't know why.
Dropkick Murphys opened for him. Well, I was like right in the front row, and Lydon almost got me with a snot rocket. But before the show,
I'd be wearing that like a badge of honor.
dude, he was aiming for me because
I would
before
never
the
wash
show,
that shirt again. That's a snot rocket right there.
I got to interview him, and I was nervous because I've seen how he handles interviewers in the past.
Yeah.
But it was great, man. And the whole time I'm sitting here talking to one of the pioneers of punk rock, because I think Ramones invented it, but I think he gave it its personality and its style and its fashion and its attitude. So fuck
love
you.
all that stuff,
That's
yeah.
all, from them.
Well,
And
the thing about the Sex Pistols was, if you ever watched their movie, it's called what the hell was it called? I don't remember. It was good. I can't remember it. They were real. See, Malcolm McLaren, who managed the New York Dolls, he tried to create them like they were a package. Like, look at these guys. It was like a fashion statement, but they
right.
were real. Everything about them was real, and they didn't like each other because they didn't like that they were real, and they didn't like the bullshit. So it was, but everything they did was real. It wasn't put on, and that's why they only came out with one album and broke up because they couldn't deal with the nonsense.
And that album still goes, like when I hear any Sex Pistol stuff, man,
It's
to this
great.
day I'll lose
And
my
even
mind.
Public Image, I loved it too. I even loved his band after that. It was
Yeah,
really
that
interesting.
was good stuff for the times. I don't think it held up. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
a
it
little
stood the
rough
test.
to listen to now, but
Yeah, yeah.
it
But
was
if you listen to the Sex Pistols right now, you're gonna go nuts. It's still great
still great.
because it's the edge, man. It's that attitude.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Glenn might be an interesting interview also. I don't know if you spoke.
Yeah, he'd be
I did
great.
contact John Blenn. He didn't get back to me yet, but I will because he's definitely a good guy. He's got all that Long Island roots.
Yeah, because I like the music stuff you're doing, the record shop guy, and then
Oh
Epi,
yeah. Thank you.
he's
And I don't
pitchy.
think, yeah, I don't think you're anybody until you get a picture with John Blenn.
Yeah, exactly.
Because John Blenn has met everyone.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He took a picture of me on stage and I complained about it, and I think he got mad at me.
Oh, really?
It was weird. It was like I looked yellow, and I'm like, John, I look yellow, and like he didn't answer, and now he doesn't post any pictures of me anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess I pissed him off, or I guess he knows I didn't like that picture. But
Well,
I
if you
know
get
John a long time since I started comedy. I used to come to all the shows. He used to write for a paper called The Island Ear.
Yeah, man.
Remember The Island Ear?
He's the reason I started doing it when I
Oh,
wrote for
really?
Good Times magazine and all that
Good
stuff.
Times and The Island Ear. Those were the
yeah.
two he used to write for, and he.
Him and Joni are awesome. They've come to a lot of my
Yep.
shows.
Yeah, they've always been very supportive of the comedy community way back when, and good people.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
big influence on me in the early days. I didn't even know him. I just knew his name. He was writing all these articles and by
Yeah.
John Blenn and a lot of comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And he's the one that really this is when I was younger. I started realizing all the comedy talent pool we have right here in Long Island. So then when I got a little older, I started writing and then just submitting to Good Times. They finally took me on board. And then by that time, John already moved on. He had like a falling out with Good Times. And I think
Yeah.
he moved on and started his own LIE, member Long Island Entertainment.
Yes,
Yeah.
Long Island Entertainment. That's correct. Did he
Yeah.
write for the Island Ear? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I thought he did.
I think he wrote for Good Times, if I'm not mistaken. He might have wrote for the Ear, because I wrote for the Ear also, but I wrote under a different name just because they
Oh.
were competing magazines, Good
Oh.
Times and Island Ear. And I was just interviewing like crazy, kind of like how I'm doing now. But I was doing it back then on phoners and go to backstage at clubs and shit. And
Was
and
that
then just
Ari Nadboy or something like Ari was the Island Ear guy? He had a weird
yeah,
name.
I
like
forget
Ari.
because I
Ira?
was dealing with God, I forget him. But Richie Bransford at Good Times,
Oh yeah, Richie. Yeah,
he was
still around.
great. Yeah, I think he's in the Long Island Music Hall of Fame now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well deserved because he's done a lot for the scene. And yeah, man, it was good times. And
Maybe I'll get Billy Joel to come on,
Yeah. Yeah,
unless he looks at my Facebook post and he'll be like, "Wait a minute, you don't like me." I don't
But
hate
yeah.
him. I'm just tired of. You know what it was? I worked at a record store, and all we listened to was Billy Joel. It was Billy Joel, Billy Joel, Billy Joel. I'm like, enough already. He was played
he's
out.
the king of Long Island.
I guess somebody's
That's
got
why
to be.
what I love about Billy is that he's proud of to be a Long Islander. And
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's
Yeah.
done a lot of good things, and it's all right. I tease. It's just an ongoing joke. All right, let me go. You guys have been wonderful.
Yep, that's been fun. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
I will
man.
send
Thanks.
this to you. Thanks again.
Yep,
Take
good
care, everybody.
Take
Have a
it
good
easy,
one.
pal. All right. Bye-bye.